But today's question is one that was asked of me. And it sort of tickled me a little bit because I didn't see it coming. And the person asked, what are the disadvantages of mentoring? And I went, I'm so used to sharing this whole notion of what are the advantages that I had to step back for a second and go, oh, what's going on here? And so I dug around both in my own experience, and I've been a facilitative mentor for 20 plus years now. And I just sort of went and said, okay, what would be those disadvantages? So I wrote down a bunch for myself. Then I did a little bit of research on Google to find out, are people agreeing with me or not? And I found a couple of nuanced ones. And so the list will actually be in the show notes, all 11 that I found, but I'm only going to highlight a few of them at this point in time. The first one, and I think we would all agree, is that the mentee is told to be in the mentoring arrangement. And there's no wiggle room there for the mentee. And the mentee may come in with that crossed arm kind of feeling about, oh, I've been told to be here. I don't know what this mentor's got to offer. But yet, if you unfold that, we do know that mentors do have something to offer. But it is a disadvantage because it sets things in motion that has a bit of a block when you're coming together. You sort of hit a wall. And everyone that I read mentions that one. It was the first one that I listed. So obviously it's one to take into consideration. There's some other aspects of things like incompatibility and conflicting insights and preferential assignment and personal bias and being prepared or not being prepared. These are elements about the disadvantages. But again, what I want to do is I want to lean into something that I found most interesting in my time working in organizations or working with organizations. And it's the double standard of mentoring. They're saying, middle managers, you need to get mentoring because you need to do some learning and growth. You need to do some continuous improvement. But I, as the senior executive, don't need to get involved in any kind of mentoring because I've got it all nailed down. And you see that and you feel that and you go, what is going on, this double standard? So that becomes a disadvantage because, again, the middle manager who's going through the mentoring is looking and going, yeah, but I can see where the person I report to could use some mentoring, especially from the mentor I'm working with. And that double standard, again, can form a little bit of a block, and we need to take a look at that as well. So one of the things that I do there is that I always have a conversation with, if it's a mentoring in the workplace program or I'm being asked in the mentor, and I know Doug does this, is, well, how widespread is the mentoring? Where is it? Is it just localized or is it actually in the whole organization? And what I attempt to do is get people to dance as a whole. Now, the other one that I find kind of interesting is the concept of familiarity. And what happens is you start off in a mentor-mentee acquaintance, and what you can do is move into a mentor-mentee friend. Now what? You became a friend. There's a line there, and when we talked earlier about lines, to negotiate that line between being an acquaintance and being a friend, and to continue that relationship on, you have to look at the words you're going to use. Now, I don't have a magical answer that I says, well, we moved to friend, we don't call ourselves mentor or mentee anymore, because that would make it a disservice. All I do is raise the awareness that something might be going on there and you need to pay attention because of things like I mentioned earlier, things like personal bias, or even things like reliance, how a mentee might depend on the mentor. Again, you want to be alert to that. And then the last one, and let me use it as a bonus, all right? I said I'd give you three, but I think there's a bonus one here. It's about the situation in which the mentee is coming from. In other words, they're arriving into the mentoring arrangement. And when they return, can they actually apply what they learned through the mentoring arrangement? And I've seen it many, many times, and I believe Doug is nodding his head, and he knows what I'm talking about. You can have these great conversations, but you can't apply it. That can become a disadvantage, can become disheartening, and it can lead to, well, why am I actually now in this? So be alert to that one as well. Any one of those that you want to pick up on and give a quick nod to, Doug?
Going into an organization where, and you talked about, the mentee being told they're in a mentoring arrangement. I do some work in what I call termination versus mentoring. And in this particular case, the employee felt as though the mentoring was punitive. It started out where it means you as the mentor have to work a whole lot harder to build trust to be able to knock that wall down. But in their mind, there was nothing to be gained by going on this journey, on this mentoring journey. So just when you were talking about that, that was one kind of practical or real life lived experience